Liebelt. I was just getting my little Instagram set up. How you doing? It's Thursday. Okay, short note, I won't be on tomorrow. So every day we do this live, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And tomorrow I am off. I'm going to a business conference. So I always like to let you guys know that. We've been doing this for like over a year and a half. So people get in their schedules, right? And so I want you guys just to be abreast of what we're doing. How you doing today? So if you don't know, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. I was raised by a type 2 insulin dependent dad who died at 63 from type 2 diabetes. And being Italian, like there may or may not have been a lot of obesity and type 2 in my family, just saying. And now I'm 60. And even though you guys, I waited for freaking ever to deal with my own insulin resistance, I am the only one in my immediate family that has avoided type 2. And I'm not on any meds. The biggest piece, I think, for people, they really like to know and hear and understand the piece of the puzzle for fat loss. And so that is, kind of being a fat loss coach. It's kind of like, if I could narrow it down to one sentence and make this as simple as humanly possible for you, it would be, if your insulin is high, and you probably don't even know it because nobody's given you a fasting insulin test. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody, that's being dramatic. But if your insulin is high and if your liver is like toxic and tired, you won't burn fat and you're just going to stay on your hamster wheel. So stick around if you want to know how to turn things like that around. Hit the follow button, share out the information, especially today. Oh my gosh, you guys. Literally, the CDC just announced that 1 in 3 teens has prediabetes. Like, just shut the front door right now. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is the question. Okay, so I'm very, very excited to be able to just like bring you some information. This is Dr. Mark Hyman. I saw his information this morning and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, me oh my. We're definitely going to talk about this today because that is a huge, huge thing. So the CDC just released new data, okay? That should shake every parent to their core. Okay. And again, this is Dr. Mark Hyman's, Dr. Mark Hyman, his material. 1 in 3 teenagers in America now has prediabetes. Nearly 1 in 4 has either prediabetes or full-blown type 2 diabetes. This isn't just a statistic. This is our future. And if you are a mom or a grandma like me, I'm a Nona to 3. Love my little babies. This isn't just a statistic, you guys. This hits different if you're a mom or a grandma. Okay? Let's talk about what's really behind this and what we can actually do about it. I just go back to, this is the preface of everything that I say, you guys. Just stop what you're doing for half a freaking second. Just pause. Just give yourself a moment here. This is not overwhelming. This is not confusing. This is not a terminal diagnosis. You do not need a team of docs like you would if you had a stage 4 something. This is something that you can actually take the reins of and turn it back for you and your kids and your grandkids right now. Right now. Okay. This isn't rocket science. You do not have to become a scientist. You don't have to go to school. You don't need your master's degree. You don't need your doctorate. You don't need specialized Space Force training. You don't need any of that. You just need to put a few pieces to your puzzle, receive that this is actually easier than you thought it was, and then walk the journey. And the hardest part you're going to have, and I'm going to just tell you this up front, is going to be your mindset and your heart connection to food. Okay. And your permission. If you never give yourself permission for the journey, I don't know where you will be by the end of 2025. I don't know where you will be July 2026. But for those of you that are giving yourself permission and you are ready right now, that's where I come in. This is for you. This is for you. Good morning, Magda. Good to see you. So this was really startling to me this morning, and I guess it just really solidifies my thought process even more. The CDC's own data shows that 1 in 3 teens aged 12 to 17 has prediabetes. %33% already show elevated A1C or fasting glucose. 2.5% have undiagnosed type 2 diabetes. This is not genetics. It's not. This is food. This is environment. This is the system. You know, one of the things that kind of like has always gotten me, and I know you guys might think I'm just really goofy, but I'm just going to talk about it anyway. I mean, this is silliness, right? But so do you guys know the show, The Gilmore Girls? Does anybody know The Gilmore Girls, that series? Pretty clean, pretty clean, wholesome, mesk, and, you know, whatever, kind of sweet back maybe 2006-ish, something like that, maybe is where that, so almost 20 years ago now. And you know what's always bothered me about that show? Does anybody know? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Am I just really bizarre to know this, to know the show? This is what bothers me the most. If you guys don't know the characters, that's okay. You won't have to in order for me to explain this. The two main characters are the mom and the teenage daughter, and she has her at 16, and that's the premise of the story. And the two of them kind of grow up more like friends than they do mother-daughter, right? So this is the premise. They literally glamorize and glorify, and it is one of the main staples of the conversation is that they never eat real food. The entire series, and I think maybe it went on for like 7 years. They literally never eat real food. They live off of pizza and ice cream and candy, copious amounts of candy, and you name it. But it's like their identity that they don't eat real food, that they just order out all the time, and they live off of leftovers in the fridge. And I am telling you right now, when I saw that, I thought, this is like the biggest, fattest lie. Because the biggest, fattest lie is that you can eat like that and look like them. No, you can't. No, you freaking can't. So I just want to know, like, who sponsored this? Like, this is where my brain goes. Like, who paid for the filming of this series? But anyway, cute series nonetheless. But it's a lie. It's a message that's being given to us that is just not true. And so here we are now, not because of that show, but I'm just telling you, it's a piece of the layering that happens to us in marketing. It's a piece of the layering that happens to us in the messaging that comes to us. We have 1 in 3 teenagers, ages 12 to 17. This is CDC information. They are pre-diabetic. This should make you just spend at least one day considering that truth. And then stop being so freaking hard on yourself for not knowing this and for having so much weight gain, especially in the belly, right? So what is the root cause? It's insulin resistance. The trunk of the tree that I talk about all day, every day, is the trunk of the tree is insulin resistance. That means that the body is not responding to insulin properly. So the pancreas just keeps pumping out more and more until your metabolism crashes. Now, when I was between 12 and 17, remember, I was right around 11 when I was first bribed to diet. And by the time I was 22 and I was pregnant, I was gestational diabetic. So there's no question. I was ahead of my time, people. Of course I was insulin resistant as a teenager. Of course I was. All we did was eat bread and pasta. I'm Italian. What else would, and sugar. Like my mother made the most insane caramel rolls that you have ever seen. She would use a 9x13 cake pan. And I'm sure everything was from scratch. I'm sure that there was nothing like pre-done. She wasn't buying Rhodes frozen rolls and putting them in a pan. Everything was from scratch. And the caramel that she would put on there, like, so at the bottom of the pan would be the caramel and the nuts. And then she would have the rolled out cinnamon rolls. And after they baked, you pull out your cutting board, right? Pull out your cutting board, hope it's level, because then she's going to flip it over. and she's going to raise up that pan, and all of that caramel is going to ooze over the sides of the caramel rolls. This is the world that I grew up in. You know, the can of Crisco up in the cupboard, and everything tasted freaking amazing. But it was copious amounts of sugar and starch. So then when I got pregnant, gestational diabetic, just like that, all of a sudden I'm poking my fingers 4 times a day. And not one person, nobody ever said to me, you know, this should be kind of interesting and curious to you because your dad is type 2 and you know, like you gained 60 pounds during your pregnancy. This is kind of a red flag. You need to know that. Never. It was only ever a conversation of this is genetics. All genetics. So therefore, que sera, baby. Nothing you can do about it. Whatever you do, whatever you don't do, doesn't matter. It's genetics. BS. That was the biggest lie that has ever been perpetuated. It's really, really bad. So your body's not responding to insulin. So this is what is happening even in our young people, right? 1 in 3. So, and you already probably deal with these: belly fat, chronic inflammation, high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol, fatty liver, and early signs of disease in kids and teens. One of the biggest questions that I field on a regular basis, and remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm just your girlfriend. Let's like grab a cup of coffee, pull up to the table. Let's just have a cup of coffee, okay? We don't have to be all crazy or anything. We can research this on our own. And, you know, people are like, well, how do I know if I'm insulin resistant? Number one, if you already have an elevated A1C, you were insulin resistant a long time ago. Long time ago, but they don't tell you that. And they're not telling you that with your teens. So if your teen is showing any of these signs, will you help them? Whether they are your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, will you help them so that they don't have to have a life of disease and obesity? This doesn't end well, people. This isn't a non-effect issue. This is my dad was dead at 63 issue. Okay. I'm just saying. And there's a lot in between there for sure. That sucks, to be really honest. But so here's the part that's really kind of like making me mad. Not going to lie. Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Patty. All the junk food, Magda. Yep. Telling you, terrible, terrible. Good morning, friend. So good to see you. So 60% of what kids eat is ultra processed food. We have to stop. I remember when I first heard and understood that, like, for instance, when we give little kids all the time, so you have to remember they're not pre-diabetic between the ages of 12 and 17 because they woke up that way. It goes back to when they're 2. And we're giving them goldfish all day long, which is number one, the worst food on the face of the planet. And I'm not like being dramatic. Like they've said, the number one worst food for their teeth is goldfish because it's a pasty sugar substance that sticks to their teeth and causes all sorts of issues. Anyway, 60% of what kids eat is ultra processed food. So we're handing them candy and cookies and crackers, etc., all day long because we want them to just, you know, like simmer down. And even if we're doing it with like cleaner or organic, you guys, it's still ultra processed food. Like this is such a big issue. Junk food is cheaper and marketed directly to them all day, every day. We know this, right? Many live in food deserts, meaning real food, real nourishing food is actually hard to find. Okay. So we have engineered a food system that makes our kids sick. And then we tell them that it's their fault. It's not, and it's not yours either. So just like, don't get like all guilt ridden, no shame. We talk about no shame here, but now we know better. We can do better. Okay. So yes, it's all been marketed even through like that silly show, the Gilmore Girls, but it's more than that. That's just the one that comes to my brain. It's like, that's all they did. And they glorified only ever eating junk food. Okay. So what can we do? All right, we can do this. We really can. So type 2 diabetes is preventable and it is even reversible. You just have to understand that that is true. Just because they don't explain any of this to you, just because nobody's ever told you this before, number one, you should ask why. And number two, just know that it's still the truth, that it is reversible. Okay. And you can prioritize things. And this is what I do in the group. The group is Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And every month we have a challenge. It's a 5-day challenge. And we've been doing this for like over 2 years. And I teach food ingredient trade outs there, like from my Italian perspective. Because you know what? That was the hardest thing for me. Actually, no, that's not true. I thought it was going to be the hardest thing that I ever did. So I implemented it last because I thought, this is not going to happen. There's no way. That's what I thought. But then I realized it actually wasn't that hard. I think the hardest part is continuing to give yourself permission for the journey and dealing with all of your brain limiting beliefs or being a mean girl in your head to yourself and dealing with your heart connections to food. That's actually the hardest part. Anyway, I move on. So eliminate sugary drinks and processed snacks immediately. Like this has got to be number one on the list. Any society where they are just drinking Coke all day long, and I don't care if it's Mexico or the United States or wherever, they are diabetic. Mountain Dew in the Appalachian Mountains, you know, they took Mountain Dew and they when they marketed it like years and years and years ago, if you go back into their marketing, you'll see that they put like a hillbilly on the cover and they marketed to the Appalachia people. And they ended up literally having, this is a total side note, you can just research it on your own. They literally have had such a big issue now with all of their teeth because they were so addicted to Mountain Dew. They were putting Mountain Dew even in the baby bottles. And so we have to stop these types of things. But this is for you too, who is, as an adult, you are like, I don't understand why I can't lose weight. I'm still having a Coke once every couple of weeks. Stop it. Stop it. Do you know how much that's raising your sugars and keeping you in the cycle? And then you wonder why you're craving sugar so bad all the time. You're never giving your body a chance to not crave it. Okay. Prioritize real food, veggies, healthy fats, clean protein, fiber. That's where I have like my, I have my Banish bloat and burn fat protein blueprint. That's free. And that's on my site. Move daily, even walking boosts insulin sensitivity. So like I got up this morning and I went for a walk. Just feels really good, you guys, to get out, get some sun, get some fresh air, right? Got to do that. Support your sleep. Manage your stress. This is the one that everybody goes, I don't know how to do this one. And support your gut and liver health. That one I can help with all day, every day. But support your sleep. So like I do I have, for me, a magnesium ashwagandha duo that is like, mwah. I sleep better now. I take 2 of each of those every single night. I sleep better now at 60 than I have ever slept in my entire life because of that. And I'm just telling you, but manage your stress. Like we do live in a world where stress is like just dished up. It's just served up on a silver platter all the time. So a lot of us, especially at our age, we might be taking care of ailing parents. We might be really concerned and stressed out about our grandchildren and where they are in life or what's going on in society and how they're being influenced. Or some of us are like, I seem to have a lot of nurses. Love you guys so much. So many nurses that I connect to because you guys are working like long, hard hours, oftentimes overnight and in stressful situations. And yet you've never, ever been taught, and I hear this all the time from you guys, you've never been taught the insulin resistance flow, how this happens in your life. And so then you're gaining all this weight, you're working really hard, your cortisol is up, etc. So we have to deal with that. And then when it comes to supporting gut and liver health, this is like the number one conversation that we need to be having every single day. And the example is, I just stick by it all the time because I even see now other, like so many other people use the same analogy because it is 100% true. You will go out and spend whatever money you need to spend to protect your car, to change out the oil, to have it detailed, to get the engine checked, you'll just constantly, because your car is your mode of transportation. It gets you to your job. It gets you to where you can buy food. It gets you to wherever you need to go, and you develop a high importance value on it, right? And I'm not saying that's wrong at all, but we do the things necessary to keep it at a high value so it can perform for us, but we don't do it for our bodies. And this is absolutely the most ridiculous conversation, right? We have got to start prioritizing our body. That is the piece of giving yourself permission for your own journey. If you are a caretaker all the time, if you are a people pleaser all the time, if you care what other people think about you more than you think about yourself, you're going to have to change a few pieces. You're going to have to shift, okay? Because at some point, you're going to need to wake up and realize nobody is going to give you a call in 5 years and go, how were your last 5 years, Sally? Are you pleased with the choices that you made for yourself? Are you happy that you decided, to give yourself that journey? Or are you mad that you never did? Nobody is checking in on you. And it's not because you're not worth being checked in on. It's just because we're all living very busy lives and we're in the defense mode for ourselves oftentimes. So you're going to have to just realize that if you are in a position where maybe you haven't been taking care of yourself and right now you're like, okay, that's it. I am ready right now. Then let's go. Get into the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. I do this Monday through Friday. I won't be here tomorrow though, because I'm going on a business conference. I'm getting in a car, doing a road trip. Very excited with team. So Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, every single day, Monday through Friday. This is free. Get into the group. There's a challenge. Once a month, we do a challenge. The replays right now are up in the featured section of the group from, it wasn't last week, it was the week before, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's for free. You don't even have to sign up for it. I just do it every single month. We've done it for over 2 years. And then invest in yourself when it comes to supplementation, but stop flushing your money down the toilet. Become very specific towards insulin resistance. Take care of you and you're going to be able to help other people. Jeanette, good to see you. Take care of yourself so that you then have a freaking leg to stand on when you are talking to a grandson or a granddaughter or your own daughter or your own son. Change your life. It will speak volumes to everybody else. We can't sustain 1 in 3 teenagers being pre-diabetic, given by one of the latest pieces of the CDC. We cannot sustain this as a culture. Do you understand what is happening? Do you understand where all of our money is going? PHARMA. So if that doesn't piss you off, I don't know what will. Pisses me off. And I know that's not very ladylike, but I don't actually know another word to use. Really obnoxious statistics. So I always talk about using targeted supplementation because this is where I started. And this is where all of y'all have duplicated my results and you have crushed the timeline as to how long it's taken you. And again, even this morning, somebody, and sometimes it's just from my content in general. Sometimes it's because you just get on the total body reset and you're just flying. You want, because you want some acceleration. But you know what? Every single day I hear from one of you, seemingly every single day. I hear from one of you that says, oh my gosh, I just got a lab report back and my A1C is down. Oh my stars, I'm losing weight. Oh my stars, because if your insulin is high and your liver doesn't function, you will not burn fat. And you're just going to go like this and you're going to wear out at some point trying to figure out, but I've been counting points, but I've been living in a calorie deficit, but I just signed up for that $1,200 prepackaged ultra processed food for $1,200 a month. I barely eat. I use high intensity cardio, all the bad things like let's focus on protein, moderate good fats and low carbs. Okay. Lisa. That's really funny. She just said something very funny. I will remember that, Lisa. I will remember that. So when I talk about targeted supplementation, I always tell you guys, I started right here with the trio. And I told you when this came back into stock to grab it, I told you, and now it's back out of stock for just a couple weeks. So don't let that deter you. It's coming back. But this is like your natural OZ. If you know what I mean, wink, wink. Can't say things because of PHARMA. So if you can't spell, it's really hard to be on my show because we have to speak in code. We should really ask why. Everybody should wonder why. Why do we have to speak in code? Doesn't that bother you? Okay, anyway. So this one brings down your insulin and your sugars, and it helps with your appetite control and your sugar cravings. You take it 3 times a day. This one is for your liver because your liver governs your hormones, and insulin is a hormone. It governs the glucose in your blood. Super, super important. You've got to get your liver functioning. You guys, you have to focus on your liver. And then the last one is for your metabolism. And this is literally all I started with. I lost 3 sizes just doing this. Traded out my foods. It took me a while to trade out my foods. I added a carb blocker into this. I don't use carb blocker anymore, but it took me 3 to 4 years of having carb blocker in my pockets to transition my foods, to stop the sugar spike when I was eating. I'm just being like, that's just my journey. I did it by myself in my head, me and Jesus. I didn't have any videos like this. It didn't exist. But I had to trade out my foods because I had so many mental connections to food and emotional connections to food. I'm Italian. So this is what I did, traded out my foods, and I became somebody who actually had a routine and a little bit of discipline. That was not me prior to any of this. I was just highly motivated because I was freaked out. I was very scared. I was the scared person that was checking to see if my sores were healing scared because of my father's life. Always, can you tell I have grandsons? All of the, no, I can't think of another word. Okay, not always. All of the sores on his legs that wouldn't heal. And he was constantly putting his feet into like Epsom salt bowls, right? And keeping his pants up because his legs hurt and because of the sores, etc. You get the picture. So that was me. My dad was constantly shoving, insulin needles into his belly and, drinking all the time and peeing all the time. And so I was just scared. So I don't know, maybe that resonates with you. Maybe you're scared enough to make steps too. I don't know. It depends on where people are and what their tolerance is for illness. The second pillar that I talk about all the time now is the gut primer. And I do this because you guys, insulin resistance is creating leaky gut. And if you do not heal and seal your gut, this is a really big conversation and a really big issue. And again, liver. Love your liver. So there are like 6 products in this one little scoop. That's what is going on in there. This is not just a greens product. You can have a greens product. I have one that's organic. This is all from organic farms too, but you can have a greens product. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not this. This is like fermented greens, digestive enzymes, alkaline spices, pre and postbiotics. I mean, it's the comprehensive. So the fallout of having a bad gut, and then it's a probiotic. This is the second pillar, probiotic. You just put it on your tongue every morning, just like this. Don't heat this. Do not heat this. Do not do this after you've had coffee. These are alive, 5 strains that are alive. Your gut literally has like a stay alive technology. But the symptoms of a gut that have gone awry, maybe you've had your gallbladder removed. And so now you're dealing with constipation or indigestion. You are exhausted. You can tell you're not absorbing your nutrients. Your brain is super foggy. You're bloated way out here. Just like, oh, I can't get rid of the bloat. I can't do my jeans. I can't, all of these things. And all of this, I'm telling you, the testimonies have been amazing. Okay, that's pillar number 2. Pillar number 3 is the orange pixie stick. And some of you love this because you know that it targets visceral fat. And most of you love it because it actually does change your body composition. So do this for 90 days, once a day. And it's a clinical dose of an extract. So basically measure under your bra, measure your waist, and measure your hips, because this is where the inches come off. But it is targeting the visceral fat. And the reason why that is so dang important is because, again, insulin resistance is causing the storage of fat in your liver and around your organs. So all of these 3 pillars put together, this is what I call the total body reset. Okay. So I just want you to know that your life can actually shift and change according to how you're detailing your own engine. But I only teach two very simple things, you guys. Everything is layered specifically for insulin resistance, whether I'm talking about food or supplements. That's it. Aren't you glad that I don't have 50 things for you to hear about that you have to memorize or figure out? Like, let the noise go away. Let the noise disappear so that you can gain ground and become the example that you're wanting to be, not just for yourself, but for your family, for your grandkids, and then take them along with you on the journey. When I started to make foods that were different, everybody kind of made fun of me, you're eating that weird, blah, 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 whatever, because I would make the egg white bread. And, Maria Emmerich has all these great like ingredient trade outs, egg white pudding, chocolate pudding, and, but all of a sudden they started eating my food and they're like, dang, that's really good. I'm like, I know. And it's not because we're trying to hack anything. It's not because we're trying to like fake everything. Remember back in the 90s when we would diet and they'd be like, here, have this rice cake and pretend you like it. Like just really like we ate cardboard and we ate crap because we were told that fat was to be feared. We were told that, animal products were bad for your body. It's literally like we were taught everything that was wrong. And in fact, you guys, the most exciting thing, I'll wrap up with this because I'm going to go get ready to leave town, drive away. Yesterday, and I posted it in my stories. I don't know the name of the guy. He's some guy in government that is talking about, Dr. Ansel Keys messed us up. Boy, do I know this. I have been talking about this forever. Dr. Ansel Keys is a doctor. I think he was a PhD doctor, not a doctor. I could be wrong. I think he was a scientist. Anyway, he made the decision he had 7 countries that he studied a few things in. And since then, and he was the influence of our food pyramid. He was the influence of get rid of fat. He was the influence of literally why 40 years later, we are fat and sick and medicated. And it ticks me off. I have this really bizarre connection. This is really strange. My dad was 100% Italian. He died 30 years ago this last Monday. So 3 days ago was his 30-year death anniversary. After he died, the next year, my mom said, I want to take you all to Italy. So we did. We all went to Italy spring of 1996. Stayed in a villa. We did a couple things. We went for 3 weeks, but we stayed in a villa at one point that happened to be Dr. Ansel Keys' villa. Now, I don't know how this all happened. I mean, I do. My sister's, families, connections, whatever. But how bizarre that I got set on this course to then later find out that Dr. Ansel Keys was literally to blame for all of this. And now to hear our government speak it, to actually from that position of they're trying to fix what's ailing us when we have 1 in 3 teens that are pre-diabetic. Now they're finally speaking it and they're calling for change. And I'm like, this is huge. This is amazing. We have to pay attention to the good choices that are being made by companies now. Still mad that they wouldn't make the change until they were anyway, because they were making food that's different over in Europe than it is here, or different from state to state according to the laws of a state. Like California has more restrictions on food dyes and things like that, but everybody else here, we'll put the cancerous ingredients over there. I mean, it's a mess. But the point is that was such good news, and it puts hope in my heart. And I hope it does for you too, because these are all layers of how we end up being like, who's not insulin resistant? Like, just go out and find people that aren't. And of course, you can't really do that because they'd have to have, whatever, it doesn't matter. They don't know. Nobody knows because they're not having fasting insulin tests taken. But this is such a big deal, you guys. So I hope that you can get encouraged on a daily basis that this is not as hard as you thought it was. This is not as overwhelming as you thought it was. And it's really not too hard to shut out the noise, because I'd say 92% of everything is noise. You've got a 30-year-old influencer telling you how to eat. Just disregard she's not talking about your body. She's probably not even insulin resistant. Maybe she is, maybe she's not. She's young. Her body's dealing with it differently. Stop listening to somebody who's just selling you another program of how to count points or how to eat more prepackaged food. If you're thinking that anything that has prepackaged food is a great idea, you're already off base. This is just my opinion, of course. Probably the most prepackaged anything that I do would be like I have a grass-fed whey protein that's sweetened with stevia. Super clean, super amazing. Like 5 ingredients. Amazing. That's probably about as prepackaged as I get. And then occasionally, like on a road trip, in a pinch, I'll go grab like a Quest bar or something, but that's like maybe once a year, if that. Like most road trips, I don't. I know where to grab something if I have to when I'm in a pickle, but we cannot live that way. We can't. We have to eat real food. Because that's the answer. So anybody who's trying to like tell you that you can have prepackaged this and prepackaged that and frozen this, and I'm not saying frozen food's bad, but all the frozen pre-made meals. No, you guys, come on. Let's like rein it back in. This is not hard. We have every tool on the face of the planet. We have instant pots and air fryers, and like life could not possibly be easier than it is in 2025. How much easier do we need it to get? I'm just wondering. So anybody who wants to, there are no coincidences. Jeanette, speak it out. Isn't that crazy? That is crazy. It's crazy town that connection with Ansel Keys. Like, I think about this all the time, how our lives get connected and we're on this river. So anyway, really bizarre. So anybody who wants, if you're looking to you're like, I am ready. I have got to do something. I need to accelerate some results here. I need to actually speed up a few processes. Maybe you're afraid because you don't want to go on meds and you want to try to do something holistically first. Maybe you just want to lose fat for the first time in 20 years because you didn't realize that insulin and liver were the two things keeping you from it. Whatever it is, if you want information on the total body reset, reach out to me. Put reset in my messages. You can do it on TikTok, you can do it on Instagram, you can do it on Facebook Messenger, you can text me. My information is everywhere. Just say reset. I'll send it to you. Everything will be like in one cart. And it doesn't mean you have to purchase everything. It just means that this is the total body reset. Let's talk about it. Pillar 1, 2, 3, all 3. What are you looking to accomplish? You have to answer that for yourself. And then there are ways to get money back and free shipping and all sorts of really good benefits from being a registered customer. So like you can get paid for your own wellness journey, but don't sabotage yourself. Don't sabotage your own steps to getting on a better track. Don't do that. Okay. So, all right. I'm off tomorrow. I'm going from Minnesota to Louisville, Kentucky. And for a business conference, but then I'll be back on Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure that if you're just seeing me for the first time, hit the follow button so you don't miss anything. Put a little note in your phone if you need to chat with me, if you want to see the 11 a.m. and you're going to forget by Monday, it's quite likely. I wouldn't remember in 4 days. So I have to put everything in my phone on a little alarm. Right. And then don't forget that in August, we'll do another challenge. Like you guys, there's a path waiting for you. There's a blueprint waiting for you. And you're just going to walk it out a little bit at a time with a lot of support, encouragement, tools, and somebody to actually answer questions for you. I'm not an app. I'm not a PDF. I use PDFs to help you, but I'm an actual person that can answer your questions while you journey. So I hope you understand that. All right. Have the best day ever on the face of the planet. I'm going to go finish. See you Monday, Magda. I'm going to go finish my laundry and packing, and then off we're going to go. See you guys later. Have a good day.